Okay, I did remove all my masking, and I immediately realized I needed a little more impact, and I almost forgot to record. Here is an area I felt like it needed to be darker to compensate a little the clouds. It's just a question of taste. You don't really need to add anything if you are happy with your sky the way it was. I'm just being picky here. I wanted to have a little more impact, and I'm just mixing colors here. And I think I like best now. Or at least I like better. Best sometimes is a very complicated word in watercolors. I think the absolute majority of the watercolorists are always trying to reach some degree of perfection that might or might not be possible. So I think I like away better, and since I'm away from, I can change to my mob. What I'm doing here, I'm just softening the edges, and I go back to my mob very quickly here just to make sure that I wet the rest of the paper. Sometimes when you have an afterthought, like I just had here, you probably want to add a water wash, only pure water, just to make sure that this area that I added will integrate with the rest of the paint. And if you feel like you don't need it, you don't need it. Again, it's your painting. And I'm adding now some cobalt yellow. Which I can add some, maybe a little more towards the center. Just don't overdo it, because what you want to see is the glare. If you add too much yellow, you're not gonna see any glare, you're just gonna see yellow. And what I'm doing is pushing some of this yellow outside the circle. And again, using my big mob, I go back here, make sure that is integrating with the rest of the painting. We need also to make the decision of adding yellow to this shape that represents would represent the reflection of the sun. And we always need to be a little careful because this is not a solid shape. And of course, it's not a solid color. You have to be careful with that too. Reflects the sky, so we need to add a little bit of orange. Even if it's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And we can leave the sparkling part without any paint. So while this corner dries, I am gonna change brushes to, I think this is a number 2. And I'm gonna add some people right here. I'm using Sepia again and a tiny brush. So doing my person here. What is interesting when you add people to your painting is that you don't really need to do anything complicated because your brain is going to recognize as a person. And since this is a three-dimensional object, the light is coming from there, I need to add some shadows. And this is quite everything you need. If you want to populate your beach, you can. And just try not to overdo it. Again, those are one of those moments that you look, oh, I really like this person. Maybe I will put a hat. Or maybe I'm gonna do this. Maybe this person has a dog. And you start getting crazy with your painting. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you're always free to change your mind. You're always free to do another version. Suppose you like the composition. Suppose you like the idea of painting a beach, but you are not quite happy. So do it again. Don't be, there is no judgment for doing anything more than once. And what I'm gonna do here is break this shape because it's not a solid shape. It's just a reflection and you have waves. So even if you put a little bit, is enough to indicate that something else is happening with this shape. And if it's too wet, you can just wait a little bit. Otherwise you can break the shape. Again, don't overdo it. I would say that the good time to stop is like when you start thinking, oh, I need this, I need that, I did blah blah blah. This is the time to stop because something bad is gonna happen And it's very sad when you are basically done with a painting and you add some detail that doesn't go well. And that's really sad when it happens. And if it happens, it's okay. I mean, you just live with it, or again, do another painting. Probably the more you do, the better you get. Always watch your horizon line, because most of people will be very sensitive to a wrong horizon line. I mean, it's not wrong, it's your horizon line, but people can tell, they can feel that something is not quite right. I am gonna get my flat brush here, make sure it's clean, and I'm gonna add a tiny bit of sepia with ultramarine blue, and I'm gonna go back here, just dropping some paint. Maybe they're giving an indication that something else is going on here, which I don't know. Maybe they are people, maybe they are not people, maybe. So a little bit to the bottom. Those are decorations. Your painting is basically done, and that's the time you can mess up with it a little bit. Put your hands on it. So add some tiny bit. Oh! And if there's such a catastrophe happens to you, don't panic. Just come back with a paper towel and very gently take it off. There we go. And if you don't like it, if you are missing something, you go back when it's very dry and add a little more blue. Make sure you have your and you can always leave to see how wet this is. I will add some seagulls to this painting as soon as the sky is dry, and I come back to sign.